It is time for another roundtable discussion with OhEmGee, Remanx, and we are discussing the state of Marvel Strike Force right now after this much anticipated blog post that came out just a couple days ago, plus the additional blog post that we saw yesterday. So if you guys are ready for roundtable discussion, the positives, the negatives, and all of Marvel Strike Force right now, find that like button and you know what to do. Let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
Let's go smash it. Let's go smash it.
You just break a pen.
Woo! What is up, Valley Maniacs? I am ValleyFlyin, and we're discussing the state of Marvel Strike Force right now after two highly anticipated blog posts that just came out. And yes, if this is your first time here, guys, more great content. Hit that subscribe and smash on that like button and that notification bell. But boom, I am joined by my partners in crime, OhEmGee, Remanx. How are you guys doing?
Smashing it!
Yeah, baby, let's do it.
Yeah, that looked more like a smush, not a smash. I mean, just there's clearly a difference.
All right, so yeah, I'm anticipating this to be a very long video, so let's just get right into it. Blog post, character progression, tech issues. 3 weeks to come up with this blog post. We got information about training modules, orange gear, skill military, some technical issues, and costumes clarifications.
Yeah,
that's it. And that's it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's that's it. But there was some stuff in there.
All right. So what was your favorite part about this? Let's talk positives first. What was your favorite positive? Jeez, I can't even talk. What was your favorite part of this blog post, Remanx?
So for me, there were two things that stuck out, and it was the fact that they acknowledged what was going on with Arena, and talking about that in general. And the second piece was really announcing a rework to a team that probably missed the mark. And I think them taking ownership of that and you know, obviously, you know, that's a mixed bag. Now we're going to have to use them for a new mode, but it is going to unlock, you know, especially if you've, you know, a wide variety of people went for this team, and we'll unlock some additional training mats over time.
Does this make this better than Wakanda's, or were you expecting this same kind of a reaction for Wakanda's? Nothing was done, no reworks. How significant is this that they're going back and revisiting this team that didn't really hit the mark?
So I played a lot of games in the past, a lot of mobile games too, and there's always this quote unquote trap characters. I mean, I'm sure you guys have experienced it, where they're characters that have very little value or very little impact on your roster to kind of like deplete your resources for the next big team. And so the fact that this isn't a trap, and then that it will probably become, you know, a you know, hopefully through the rework become a war meta. I think it shows promise.
MobileGamer, what was your favorite part of this blog post? Something previously mentioned or something that we haven't discussed yet?
The Arena thing, which I hold on for a second. Let's not give them for credit for something that they should already be doing. Like
fixing bugs,
they're fixing bugs and exploits. There's no patting on the back for that. That's nonsense. But that was my favorite thing.
I mean, the bugs are right. The Arena one specifically.
Yeah, the Arena one specifically. Here's the thing. When I've been, you know, I've been talking to a lot of different players in different spectrums of the game, and everybody has a different pressure point on what's annoying them as far as bottlenecks and points and things like that. Game modes and the way that the game actually plays is probably my main thing, because I believe that affects everybody in the game the same. And whether you're a 6-month player or a 3-year player, whether, you know, negative things like the Arena exploits, it affects everybody, right? And yes, that is the stuff that, you know, making RTA more fun, making Sim Blitz more fair, you know, because we're all clumped together. That is the kind of stuff that is going to interest me the most, because maybe I want relief from Gear 15 pressure points, which I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that are trying to get into Dark Dimension 2, 3 could care less about Gear 15. So, I mean, everybody has a different pressure point, and so I'm more interested in the stuff that'll affect everybody.
Okay, one of the big things I think here that wasn't mentioned yet, I think for me, I don't know if this is the biggest thing, but training modules seems to be getting a lot of love. They're going to get a lot more in just the normal daily objectives that we're doing, and getting more flash events. What do you think of this training mats? I haven't really looked at the amounts, see if this is really going to affect a lot, but 800,000 experience seems like a lot. Is this a big change as far as these training materials go?
I'm going to go off the top of my head. I believe that's enough to take one character from 1 to 74, but that's on top of what we already get. And then I think the other number is it allows us to take 2 extra characters from 74 to 70, some 75 to 80. I could be wrong on that second number, but it's in addition to what we're already getting. So it's hard to quantify how important that is. I kind of get this feeling that they're trying to cap us dumping gold into characters because they feel we should be spending gold on gear. And if a player chooses not to spend gold on gear at all, they're going to have a surplus of gear, of gold. Yeah. It's just the way it's going to work out. And I think they were, but the pricing on gold, which they do address, the pricing of gear in the supply store has been so outrageous. And some people have not been affected by this training material problem, probably because they've been buying a lot of Gear 13s, a lot of Gear 15s. I mean, there are people that are refreshing the stores and they're spending their gold constantly, and it's not going towards characters. And so I think that's what's created this problem, is that there's a segment of the player base that was spending 0 gold on gear, so they had a surplus of gear, and then it led to a shortage of training materials. This is a good thing. I don't understand why we need this bottleneck. This bottleneck is just annoying. It's just it's a useless bottleneck altogether. I think it's trash.
I agree. Now, you talked about some of the prices with orange gear. Did this really change a lot as far as what they've done for orange gear? I mean, was this really one of the big issues that the community had with orange gear, or because from what I'm hearing, more purple gear and blue gear was what a lot of players were needing. And then obviously late game players want this stuff, but as far as catch-up mechanic, blue and purple gear, what is your assessment of this orange gear changes that they made, Remanx?
Yeah, so I mean realistically, I still look at it, and I think we Bombay and Dr. Chaos came out with an infographic this week that basically highlighted the real impact of this game changed when G14 came out. It almost became a necessity to perform at any level, that a character in your arena had to be brought to G14, a character for war attacks, because if he was overcoming a heavily invested team, had to be G14. And because it has such an impact in the game, that orange gear was a vacuum. You know, before you could take a character to, was it G10, 11, or 12 when we were doing U6 content, and it didn't have that much of an impact. If you can have G10 characters in your arena, but that all changed with G14. And so orange gear, it addresses some availability. It misses a lot, but it's a start. And I think that they're probably, without revealing too much, I think there's probably going to be some of that brought into the game in other methods, you know, through maybe some flash events, things like that. But this addresses stuff that we buy every day, and we already saw that war store for G15 already happening right now. Yeah. So it went up. So that's a big deal, because I know people are probably going to be able to get through City and then Legendary. So the more people who beat Doom or get Doom can go into the Doom raid and be more successful in the Doom raid. And it looks like they're going to be gating a lot of the targeted progression behind being able to beat that Doom raid. So it's going to be kind of important to kind of target that as the next level of progression for endgame. So
and I mean, getting players to that endgame spot, I think, is a important thing. And speaking of that, there were some things that weren't mentioned in here. I mean, the things that were in here, I think, were either neutral or good, but there was a lot that was missing. I think that's the big thing of this blog post. And one of the big things for me that was missing, no mention of real-time arena, but in yesterday's blog post, the subsequent blog post, we did get some changes to coming to the real-time arena with the Mojo's Mayhem Season 4. Different, focusing more on knockouts. I think that's a good thing, because that's what we've all been wanting. A game mode that focuses on winning and not just autoing. The rewards, changing some of the structure of the rewards, and then increasing the bans. Do you think this will make real-time arena a positive experience for most players, or this is just kind of a step and they eventually will need to go further?
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So this is a step in the right direction. I think it's a start. So when very few people say that they love real-time arena, and I ask them 2 questions. Would you play this game mode if there were no rewards? And secondly, if most people are playing this on auto, what is the function? What is the purpose against playing another player? My belief is that playing against a player creates two problems: poor matchmaking and lag and grief. Just basically a laggy experience. Like you're waiting for them to play. And so it's adding but because this game mode is basically Blitz 2.0, let's just call it Blitz 2.0.
Yeah.
I don't see why we have to play against another player, because all it does is introduce poor matchmaking and lag. And what's the point of that? It doesn't make sense to me at all. Do I think these changes are good? Yes. I just think that the entire game mode is fundamentally flawed. And let's just call it what it is. Blitz 2.0. That's fine. And the problem with Blitz 2.0, and it is a better version of Blitz. The original version of Blitz was terrible. But here's the thing. And I know you are a hardcore blitzer, Valley. Here's the thing. I could easily opt out of that game mode altogether. I just did my milestones and I was done. I don't have if I'm interested in DD4 and Doom and the Battle Pass, I'm compelled to play RTA, a game mode that I don't prefer. It's that simple. And will these changes make a difference? Probably. I don't know. It should be better than it was. I think that's what we kind of want, but I really think they need to take a step back and ask themselves, what's the point in this game mode being player versus player at all? Why? What does it need? What does it do at all for the game?
Well, I think they had an idea with PvP. They wanted to extend it here, and it kind of missed. What do you think they should bring back to this real-time arena to make it fun and give us that player versus player aspect, which I think they have something good here that they could build upon, but they've kind of went down the wrong path. What do you think they would need to bring it back on the right path to make this a fun game mode, Remanx?
It was the drafting. The best part of the game mode was, if you're going to have it against players versus other players, the draft was fundamentally what was fun, but it wound up being a forced interaction with other players, and having these objectives meant that you really weren't building teams other than just trying to complete objectives, and it wasn't fun because you could have somebody with a different set of objectives with an overpowered team, and so that balance and so let's look at it from what they were probably trying to do. They were probably trying to say, hey guys, you guys need to build a wider roster. People were able to go tall in this game for a long time and beat content. They were able to beat, take symbiotes up, Black Order, maybe 3 or 4 teams and do most of the content. Yeah. Well, the Doom raids out, the .3, the raid sliders out for the Greek raids, and your roster is now going to have to look a lot more significant, a lot wider. And maybe that's in preparation for something else coming down the road. I don't know, but it's almost as if this is like, we got to train them to be ready to have a wider roster. The drawback with that is nobody enjoys an experience with playing with characters we just don't care about. And that's the problem is, fundamentally, when it was like, I can build a team and my opponent can say, no, you can't have that. And you're like, oh man. And then you got to react and interact with your own squad. And then it has a more meaningful environment. All they had to do was create a meaningful reward system revolving around that. And we could have had a much better overall experience, but it just doesn't feel like PvP. It just feels like Blitz 2.0. MobileGamer nailed it.
So is there a way to fix this? Other than maybe not tying the battle pass to the real time arena. Is there a fix here that? Because I don't know if adding that draft back in. I know the 3 of us enjoyed the draft a lot, but from what we heard on that Strike Time episode. Mm-hmm. We're in the minority. We're about a third of the community. 2/3 of the community does not like that game mode. So
I don't think they're ever gonna like the game mode. I don't think they ever would. I don't think they were ever gonna like the game mode.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I let's be real. What happened was there was no way of really monetizing balanced PvP. That is exactly what happened. That's what happened. There was no way of monetizing.
So if this is her method to monetize it, does that mean that fun is kind of out of this game mode permanently, or can this be salvaged? I mean, at this point, can this be salvaged?
So let's talk about it. So Disney Sorcerer's Arena, they have like a balanced arena. Like, so basically, it would be like everybody could have a different pick and choose from different squads, and you got different rewards, and you were in different tiers based on how much you win or lost. They had a very similar live arena game mode, but it was the problem was always the lag and the differing opinion. It suffered from a couple of pieces of the puzzle, but it wasn't unfun like this is. And it's just it's tedium. And so the idea behind this is how to make it fun. And I think they gotta put it in if they really want to salvage it, they should have done some more advanced play testing like they did with ISOs. I don't know. But again, I actually, monetization.
Yeah, I actually don't think they have any incentive to make this fun, and I believe it's tedious on purpose.
Yeah.
They have 2 tiers on the battle pass, and you're basically, the second tier is relieving you from the how horrible their game mode is. Yeah, literally, that is the reason why you spend that extra $20. If the game mode was fun to play, nobody would buy that extra that $40 tier. Literally, you're paying an extra $20 to not play a tedious game mode. I'm dead serious. So they have no interest in making it fun or not tedious. They've designed it that way intentionally.
You remember that in-game mail that we had that said like, "Hey, we've temporarily, accidentally allowed you to have 100 cords to buy up the battle pass."
Yeah, I know, right?
It's called paying for pain. It's to overcome pain. And the problem with that is they created a lot of the frustration the community feels right now.
Yeah, so for me, this is my biggest source of pain in Marvel Strike Force right now. I'm looking forward to this week when I could just take Real-Time Arena off and just play some of these other game modes, building my roster. But I hope there is some method that we're not thinking of here to fix this. But
well, let me ask Remanx a question real quick, because this question was posed to me. Like, the next battle passes have Scream, which I don't need, and I'm really close to being done with my characters for Doom, and I know you're done for Doom. Are you going to do anything with Real-Time Arena now? I mean, what's the point?
The last one, I still needed a little bit of Beast, so I got it for Beast, but I just did the minimum. I didn't like push it as hard. Because I still need those resources, because if I want to showcase a character, or where we live in this world, we're right. It's
almost getting to the point where I may not even bother with RTA for the next month altogether. It's that bad. Think about it, because once I've got Doom, what do I care? Like I don't want to play that game mode.
You're gonna need those to bring, despite the rewards you have, you're gonna need those to bring up the characters they're gonna sell us to battle.
After 15 is 16 and 17, and you're gonna be playing catch up. So. That's kind of the problem with this. The rewards are so good that even if you hate the game mode, you're kind of forced to play it, and that's where a lot of people are right now. Some people have so much discipline they cannot play this, and it's awesome.
I do want to back up one thing, and I hate to hijack this, but do you remember when 3 weeks ago when they came out with this blog post, the original acknowledging community feedback?
Yeah,
right there. The first thing we all said is, why did they ask top alliances? That remember we talked about it. It said we polled the top alliances of the game, and we were all like, what about the mid game and end game players? And we were screaming a couple issues with this, right? And that was the main one, is like, and so we have a blog post that we're reviewing today that is only addressing, with the exception of Arena and with the exception of training materials, only addressing in-game player concerns.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back, Orange Gear, that's kind of a end game. Training modules, that is, like you said, affecting everybody. The bugs, the raid milestone rewards, and the skill military. That's not a new player team.
No,
that's an end game team.
So there's let's say other than the a certain number of people that played the game for 1,000 days or something, or have gone crazy in the last year and dumped tens of thousands of dollars. There's a large number of people that they're scratching their heads at this blog post, and it's like, I don't get the outrage. None of this means anything to me.
Yeah.
I hate red stars. I hate gold, and that's all and that's what they're saying. And none of that is being addressed here at all. And that's my problem with the blog post, is that 3 weeks ago we said what was wrong with that original post.
Yes.
And they didn't deviate from that post. They used that post. They tried to narrate the conversation. No, this is what we said we were going to fix. Well, wait a minute. That's not what we want fixed. Like they changed they answered a question that wasn't the question. That wasn't the conversation. Like, they changed the conversation altogether by delaying us for 3 weeks and then only addressing the things that they said they would. And everything else got dismissed, and everybody kind of forgot because it's been 3 weeks. And guess what? We didn't forget. I'm just saying we didn't forget. So
wait a minute. Having red stars available for Ultron doesn't solve the red star issue for you?
No.
Okay. I thought I was alone in that. Where's the stuff about red stars? Oh, we got something for Ultron and
That
Optimus.
is to encourage red star sales. What's this be? That has nothing to do with anything.
That's going back to the basic red stars.
Basic red stars are useless. Like, you have a 1% chance at a 5 red in those things, and I have this is an end-game problem, believe me, I understand.
100%.
But we all have 3 and 4 stars. Like, I maybe care about some 5 stars. 1% chance? What is that worth to me? What is that worth to me? I mean, I'm not going to get anything. If I open 100 red stars, what am I get? 1 upgrade? So all they're doing is forcing us to buy something that's probably trash because we're gonna get upgrades to Red Star Ultron. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So anyways.
So I mean, that's the thing, is that we were obviously missing the red star. Like, right? That's it. We're missing the red. Like, they didn't address red stars in a meaningful
Silver
way.
promotion credits, gold promotion credits. That's what we wanted. I mean, we don't want any of this stuff.
Just add that. How hard would it say, hey, we're gonna increase this? We know it's a problem. Hey, we're gonna increase this a little bit and move on. You know, just addressing it. Some would have eased some of the concern, but nothing. Not even addressed in this. You know, the only thing we've heard about red stars was Ultron, and we're gonna sell more. We're gonna continue on our course of action with red stars. Is what I got from all these recent series of blog posts.
Yeah, but I'll say one big thing is, you said it best. You said like something very specific, Valley, was if you don't get a good red star in a team, you're gonna skip it, right? You're like, so that they're really holding back that. I can't believe that after a year of this bullshit. You know,
you beat the wrong part.
You did wrong. Fix your beep, X. I hope you leave it in, Valley.
I'll put a deck for the real swear word, but
I think you'll leave it because you missed it.
I'm gonna leave all this in.
I don't think so.
Right. What were we talking about?
No, but I mean, red stars are really like, you know. So the gating behind it. There's no reason to have it's 5 weeks or 6 weeks between the time a red star comes out before you can upgrade it. So if you're if they want to sell more silver and gold promotion credits, give us the opportunity to use them. People are passing on teams because they don't get good red stars initially, and good red stars to us is a lot different than they think it is. You know, and that's the problem, is they really think it's, you know, it's okay. They're happy with 3. 3's the best chance you got for. They're going to be really happy. We made those changes. 3 does nothing, and in matter of fact, you have
not anymore.
You know, end game content. If you're going to start doing Doom 6
at the minimum for that, yeah. So
and I got to say, it's a huge, like, going back to the original post called acknowledging community feedback. You know, when they post that here on the website, they also post it on Reddit, right?
Yeah.
You know, there was, you know, so, and then people can respond to it on Reddit. Do you know how hard it is on the Marvel Strike Force Reddit to get 1,000 upvotes? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Yeah. The top comment on acknowledging community feedback had 1,000 upvotes, and it was about red stars. And for them just to ignore that is, they should this post should be, you know, I'm going to go into Inspect Element and change this to ignoring community feedback, because they're ignoring it. They're ignoring they just ignored red stars, and it's so glaring that's what people's hotspots is, and there was nothing not from 3 weeks ago, not from yesterday, nothing about red stars.
Yeah, but I gotta feel like that somebody owns a Ferrari with red stars on their wheel rims and stuff like that, because I mean, unfortunately, they're still making money off of them. They are. They haven't stopped making money.
Well, how about this as a compromise? I've seen this on Reddit. I've seen this in the chat. When you buy an offer, you get a minimum red star. So maybe a $24 character, you get a minimum 3-star. Or that $50 character, you get a minimum 4-star. And that way, if you're buying this, is that too little? Is that going to minimize profits for them too much? Because that seems fair for. All right.
Well, I mean, let's say they dial up silver promotion credits. And you know, and it takes me and I want to upgrade my Ghost from 4 to 5 stars. I've got 150 silver because they're giving me, right now we're getting like 60, 70, 80 a month, something like that. I think it's 70 something a month. Depends on where you are in the game, right? But let's say they double that number. Let's say they do double that number. What if it takes me 24 days before I see Ghost in the Elite store? There's still problems. They're still they're still making money off of it. The silver, even if they doubled the silver promotion credits, people are going to be spamming that refresh button to find Ghost or whatever they're looking for. It's the whole system is absurd. I'm sure they're making a ton of money off of it, and I kind of feel like yesterday's blog post or 2 days ago blog post is like, oh, we've stopped making money on catalysts and SBCs, and we're not making money on that, so we can loosen that up. I'm pretty sure anything that they're making money on was omitted from that post and ignored. It just feels that way. Absolutely,
it feels that way because you're probably right about that. Red stars are still very highly profitable for them. They're not willing to rework them. No, you got a different.
So in their opinion, I think their fix to red stars is already in the game. You know that, right? That's probably what their opinion.
I mean, they they go on Reddit. They watch.
But
Twitch.
no,
they watch videos. That's what's constantly being complained about. That.
Yeah. But they're gonna say we're thinking wrong because we don't get it, and maybe we don't. But it's not. I don't think we're at the point where ISOs take over for red stars at all. We got a long way to go before that happens, because it's impossible to bring. I mean, you're talking about like massive Kraken. I think I've got 23 characters at ISO 5, and that is if that's going to be what's required for ISO 2, it's going to be a long time before that really diminishes what the effect of red stars have on characters, right? So we've talked about that a little bit. That's something. So they probably think that they've already have the fix in the game, and something that they probably don't make a lot of money on, period.
Well, I hope something switches and they go back and redo red stars another time to make it a little more profitable, or not profitable, not more profitable, more player friendly. Excuse me. Couple other things I do want to address. Catch-up mechanics were not mentioned all in this.
Nope.
What would you like to have seen as far as catch-up mechanics? Either of you guys, what is the biggest miss as far as these catch-up mechanics? And I guess we'll lump gold into that as well, because that kind of is needed for a lot of progression as well.
I just feel like there's no pathway to get to the end game. There really isn't. It's like if I recommend this game to a friend, or if somebody picks it up, they're lost, because there's 150 characters. They're lost. And too many of the high quality characters are gated behind limited availability. Go ahead, Mobile. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, no. And the other thing too, I think, and I'm pretty sure this will be coming to the game, but the way that Nick Fury and Iron Man is in the game probably needs to be stated somewhere for every single legendary character, like at a minimum, like people are wondering, hey, how do I get Phoenix? They don't know until the legendary event pops up, and then they've got a week's notice, and unless they're going to third-party sources of information like YouTube or Twitch or Reddit or an infographic, it's not in game. The information's not available. It's not available. Where it would be interesting to say, here are all the legendary characters, here are the requirements, this is when the last event happened. The last event happened, 2 months ago or whatever. And just so you could see it in game. Some people might even call that a journeys guide. I wonder where that came. I wonder where that word came from.
Well, I mean that's good.
That would be new. First of all, that would be new player friendly, right? And yet not. And the problem with this, that's just manpower of creating that. It doesn't really even change the game. But I think if they want to help a new player experience, everybody's experiencing a lot of the same frustrations calls all levels. Which would be gold. I'm gonna guess that there's still a huge bottleneck in purple gear and SBCs. I mean, at some point, we're just one for one. New character comes in and we can upgrade that character. But when I'm trying to catch up with 150 characters that I haven't been playing with for 3 years, like everybody else has, it's a lot of gear. And it just seems like red stars, everybody can relate to that. Gold, everybody can relate to that. You know, it's just like that's the kind of stuff that needs to happen if people are going to be interested in competing and playing the game long time, because there's nothing worse than someone coming into the game and not knowing what to do, not where to go, feeling like they're never going to catch up, and then they just leave. That's what happens. They just leave the game. And if you know, and it's not like 1,100 day players can all play with themselves. You know, someone in my alliance leaves, you know, I need to replace them, or somebody in my alliance has to replace them. What? Or I can't replace them with a 90-day player. That would be a lot. Think how nice that would be. I mean, think about it, right? You know, we got to go find. It's a problem, man. We need to. You know, and the other thing too is like if someone says, "Hey, should I come start playing Marvel Strike Force?" And the answer is yes, but where do you start? Like even for someone that plays the game a lot every day, and I spend a large. I feel like it's almost like, wow, you gotta have fun. You know what I mean? You're gonna learn a lot, right? It's just like I don't think that's good. And I know other games have systems in place to make that a better experience.
Agreed. So yeah. Couple different things, that path, resources, just being able to catch up. And this you know, not having these catch up mechanics is eventually going to bite everybody in the butt, because no matter how long you've been playing, you got to recruit, you got to find new players, and you want players around your level. If you don't have players coming up that are brand new, and the only players that you could play with are people that have been playing at least 3 years, you're going to start losing those players at the top. Nobody's able to catch up, and where does the game go at that point? So definitely something that they need to address, in addition to Red Star's real-time arena. Before we wrap up here, guys, any other points you want to address real quick? I know we're going to continue a lot of this discussion over on OhMG's channel, but anything you want to address that you talked about here that you want to make clear or want to say to anybody?
No, I just think that they're probably going to say, hey, 3-year anniversary is coming up. Wait, we got something in store for you. And maybe that's like their big sticking point is, you know, that they're going to do some type of, you know, special event that's going to make a lot of this look like a distant memory. But I still think that there's way, you know, when I'm sitting on Twitch or, you know, my YouTube comments, they're like, I just started playing 30 days ago and I'm spending this amount of money. Where do I start? And I don't have that answer, because it's just a different experience for people. Mobile like nailed that, you know, and maybe it's time to look at like Magneto and other characters, Star-Lord, and just give them away. Like, and I don't mean like give them away, but to re-unlock, you know, give them a path so they're relevant to them, because there's a lot of guides out there that are still saying defenders are meta, and you know, there's a lot of that old data is still floating around out there.
Yeah,
you know, that is what it is.
Any other thoughts before you head to your channel?
I do think the game is in a good place to move forward. I mean, I've actually seen data that, like, empirical data from these websites like Sensor Tower and Amp Adding. I've seen data. The game is not imploding. The game is not falling apart. It's this idea that things can always be better, and you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I believe that these criticisms and these things that are going on and this conversation that's happening right here, and the willingness for Marvel, the development team, to engage us is a positive thing. And even though we didn't get everything, or if we got something, and I think it's the discussion's being had and it's moving in the right direction. And actually, I think the game is poised to go forward quite fine, but I'm still going to complain. That's just what I better do. I'm going to play.
Yeah, I think I want to leave it on something that you said. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we got some things. The game is moving forward. You know, it's positive. So that is it.
The game is actually healthy overall from a numbers point of view. The game is healthy from a numbers point of view. I mean, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence of people leaving and quitting and things like that, which I understand. But like, the numbers look good. I've seen the numbers, so.
Yeah, so hopefully it continues to move forward in a positive experience for the players, and we're going to continue this discussion on your channel, OhMG. Before you guys go, though, make sure you give me a Hulk fist bump, and you guys subscribe and like and all that, guys. Oh yeah, ValleyFlyin, OhEmGee, Remanx, out.
Oh, I didn't cut.
I didn't think bullshit was a